Welcome to Common Man Cocktails. I'm your host, Eric Schomer, and today last night I did a Patron, why I don't spend money on Patron. Tonight I wanted to do something that I hadn't done in a while. By the way, I did forget to do the recap for December, so I'm going to try and continue that in the end of this month for all the shows that happened in January. I ran out of time. It was really busy at the end of the year with orders and everything for the store, so I didn't get around to it. Sometimes I drop the ball. I try to stay on top of things. Doesn't always work out. So I don't even know what I was saying. Oh yeah, so yesterday we did the Patron thing. Tonight I wanted to do a Q&A. We haven't done them in a while, a long time, and I'm going to put it in the Q&A playlist so you can go back and watch. I think I have 2 or 3 episodes, questions and answers, people that have asked me questions that tend to repeat over and over, and I like to have answers and be able to get something out to people, and then I can reference those. Again, I'm always like, it's dark out. I always think like some sort of like zombie or something's going to be looking at me through that window when I start recording it. When I look at it, it's weird. So, too much Walking Dead. I think it would be good to do one of those Q&A videos, and let me know if you see some flickering, because I have a light that's going out. Because people ask a lot of questions, and I've noticed a lot more people have been either viewing or subscribing and viewing recently, and strike while iron's hot, right? So I want to be able to get out all those questions and answers so the people who ask these questions get their answers. People in the future have your place to get your answers. Question number 1, what do you typically drink? So this is a confusing one because there's alcohol and there's not so much alcohol. I am not really a drinker of alcohol that much, and there's a couple reasons to it. First off, it tends to make me a little tired, and even like basic medicines make me tired. And when I'm tired and run down, I start to get headache because I have double vision, so I have to focus my eyes a lot. For those that might have that, you get migraines every now and then if you get really tired. So I got to keep the energy high. I got to eat at certain times of the day to make sure that I don't end up with headaches and they hurt like hell. So whatever. So I usually get tired. Secondly, once I'm tired or I'm drinking and you kind of get out of it and things just don't go as well. I'm kind of really about building my brand, image, business, and everything from awesomedrinks.com to everydaydrinkers.com and being able to kind of bring those together and continue to feed awesome content to people, get Curtis on here to organize and go through different histories of things like we do with the gin. So a lot of those things require coordination and effort. And while you don't necessarily see it now, and it's a hard thing to see behind the scenes on the camera, but when I'm not on camera, I'm typically either reading user comments that I get every few minutes, responding to feedback, looking for ways to rebrand things, looking for metrics and trying to figure out what works for views, what people like, and going through store inventory, packing, unpacking all my boxes, restocking, all the things you would do for a normal store that you only have 1 or 2 people to do. My wife does the finances, I do everything else. Editing videos, stuff like that. So with all that, and having a family with 2 kids, there's just not a lot of time for drinking. So what I typically do is I drink Coke Zero, and yes, I know it's not necessarily the most healthy thing. Coke Zero is my staple. Coffee in the morning, Coke Zero, iced tea, lots of things with caffeine. I like caffeine, it's awesome. Water, flavored water, stuff like that. If I go to a restaurant, the only time I've really order a beer is if somebody else is ordering beers, like we're at a party or Doug's there and we're getting a beer or whatever, then sometimes we'll do that. And maybe some Polynesian restaurants. I don't really drink that much, is what I'm trying to say. Second question, have you ever made whatever the recipe is, just come up with something on top of it. Have you ever done a screwdriver? Have you ever done a Long Island iced tea? Have you ever, and a lot of these are very common, but people continue to ask the same question over and over and over. And I keep saying, search the channel. And it's come to my attention, I think, you guys prove me wrong here, but it seems that nobody actually understands how to search YouTube's channels. You can search YouTube, it's right at the top, but a channel search is special. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to input right here where this channel search happens. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the everydaydrinkers.com or Everyday Drinkers YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/everydaydrinkers. Then from there, you're going to scroll down a little bit if you have to, and you're going to see a row of icons. In that row of icons, you're going to see a magnifying glass. If you click on the magnifying glass, a little magic box pops up. And when you search in there, you're able to find everything within our channel keywords. So that's keywords, things that are in descriptions, titles, everything you think you should be able to get from a Google search or from a YouTube search, but without having to search all the content of the internet or all the content of YouTube. And in what I do is when I post a new recipe, I put in tags for vodka, bourbon, whiskey. I try and keep bourbon and whiskey together, but I don't always remember. So if you were looking for a bourbon recipe, you may want to also search for whiskey, scotch, chartreuse. Looking here, what else we got? Sour apple pucker, sambuca, sloe gin, peach schnapps. Search for those keywords, and you can put them together, vodka, peach schnapps, and be able to see different recipes that have those keywords and get answers for the questions. Also, you can put in the title, whiskey sour. Boom, you'll see that we've done a whiskey sour. So the first thing I'm ever going to tell you is if we've done something, and I'm going to do a search, because that's how I figured out, because I have 1,300 plus recipes. I don't memorize them all, and I will go do a channel search. If you say, I want a cocktail with vodka, I'll type in the vodka channel search, copy and paste the URL, paste it to you, and go, here you go. I'm just doing the work for you, but you can do it yourself if you have the tools and the techniques, so hopefully that helps you. Next question, what's your favorite brand of, and that's kind of why I brought these three things, because they were the closest to me. What's your favorite brand of, and then the next part of the question is rum, whiskey, what else do people ask? Vodka, whatever. Name your ingredient. Cherry liqueur. I don't know if anybody's ever really asked me that, but what's your favorite blue curacao or orange liqueur? Blah, blah, blah. Here it is. I don't prioritize or have favorites in most categories. I have favorites of whatever my current time period in life is. I might have a favorite scotch that I just like now, right? But it might be different next week. So giving you a favorite is kind of, I don't really know what to do, because if I tell you what my favorite is, you're going to go get it, and then 3 months later I might be like, oh, I really like this now, and it'll confuse you. But overall, from my own observations, one of my favorites has been, and this is more of a seasonal thing because right now I'm in the mood for it, is the Sherry Cask. So Sherry Cask Captain Morgan Limited Edition. I don't even know if I can buy another bottle of this because it says limited. So I like it. Maybe I like it because it's rare. I don't know. My favorite brand of rum right now is Crucian, and it's been that way for like 5 years. But rum is a very diverse area. My favorite unique, flavorful, vanilla-infused like rum is Pink Pigeon, and we've used that in a cocktail, I believe, because Jennifer likes it. My favorite current brand of bourbon is Four Roses, also Buffalo Trace, and then if none of those are available, Maker's Mark. I like my Basil Hayden. But if I had to sit down and pick something off that shelf right now, it would be Four Roses. Canadian whiskey, 40 Creek. For spiced rum in general, Kraken. For dark rum's tricky. If you're talking sweeter rums, Crucian Blackstrap is always nice to add to something. Straight dark rum, Myers will kick your ass because it's pretty potent. Favorite tequila, we've talked about this yesterday, Cabo Wabo. Riazul I like Riazul better, but Cabo Wabo, I like Riazul in properties and overall flavor. Añejo. I like Cabo Blanco. Let's see. What's another? Vodka. For vodka, I don't really even know, because they all kind of taste the same to me. There's different properties of each of them, and I get intrigued and excited about them for a few moments of time, but when I go to make a cocktail, I don't really pull one off the shelf. The way I pick vodka on the show, and people are always like, you should use this vodka. I use what the people in Ustream say. Oh, you should use this. Fine. I pull it and I use it. I don't really have a political agenda with vodka. I just pick a vodka, unless it's flavor, then I pick a flavored vodka I have. So it's really dependent. Schnapps or whatever. The core spirits from a gin standpoint, New Amsterdam is kind of my current favorite. No, G-Vine's also really good. Green Hook Gin Smith's good. So those top three. Cocktail bitters, I like all of them. Scotches, whatever one you hand me. The best scotch I found is a free scotch. And then you've got different variable types of rums, coconut rums, blah, 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 Malibu, Crucian. I like Crucian. I like Blue Cherry Bay. So Tito's Vodka, good for clear. There's always seems to be a good product for a specific build of a cocktail. What are you going to do? I say pick them. Another thing that people ask a lot is, what brand? I don't have that brand. Can I substitute? Yes, you can substitute. You can substitute anything you want for a brand. Hopefully it gets your attention. If I have used a dark rum and it's Crucian, and you don't have Crucian in your country or in your cabinet, and you have What's another dark rum? Florida Cognac. Well, heck then, use Florida Cognac. You don't have to use the brands I use. Sure, some of the flavor properties will be different, but it's going to be a good different, unless you have bad rums. And if you're using bad rums, you should be smart enough to understand why it tastes bad. So that kind of answers that question. Let's see. Another question I get every now and then is, how is Liam doing? Because for those that don't know or are new to the show, my son, you can also go and see my son and my daughter on YouTube if you like to watch mocktail type creations. It's youtube.com/mocktails, the number 4, kids, Kids. Liam, in 2011, was diagnosed with leukemia. So we went through a 2-year process. I was 55 days in the hospital. It was a long, drawn-out thing. When I look back, it's devastating, but at the same time, we got through it. We didn't really think about it. It's just you take it day by day. He went from the skinny little dude that looked like he was like one of those commercials for countries that have no food, right? Or African or Ethiopians. Yeah, it's usually Ethiopians they have the commercials for. He kind of looked like that, and he very skinny. Now he's in wrestling classes, and he's doing martial arts. So, he's gone through his chemotherapy. He's on the other side of chemotherapy. He still gets his blood tested, and he will always have blood tests just to check for cancer cells. And realistically, I think at the end of the day, we all should, but it doesn't scale. So people who have had cancer of some type are typically on the short list of people who can get those tests. Right now, it's like every couple months, and it'll move out to every year, and then he'll have that for the rest of his life. But the next 3 years are the years are the most important to get through for testing, because if there's a chance it's going to come back, it's going to be within the first 3 years with his type of leukemia, which is ALS. I can't even remember. It's been a couple years since I needed to know that. And so for the next couple years, we just keep it going, and once that period goes away, the likelihood of it returning is super ultra slim, like it would be to get it the first time, I think. And people who are nurses or doctors that watch the show, you probably understand this, and you can comment down below and talk about probabilities and whatnot if you'd like to. The last thing, I don't think I have any other... Oh, people have asked me what do I use for editing and all that type of stuff. This is a Hero 3 GoPro with a bunch of with an Olympus stereo condenser add-on dealio. For the podcast, or for our old podcast, we use these Heil mics, and Jennifer still uses that when she talks. When you hear her behind the camera, it's on one of these mics going through a recording system, which is over there on that camera, which is our Sony 1080p, whatever the hell camera it is. I have a video on it. You can look up that. Just search for Sony on our channel, and you'll find it. I have an old Sony. Our original camera, if you go way back in the days, is what we use our Ustream for. We just clock it down to like standard res because we don't pay for Ustream because it's freaking super pricey for like the basic stuff. And with the amount of viewers that come into our channel for viewer hours, just in a single two recording sessions, I would be paying up the ass. For those who want to watch the recording, it's live.everydaydrinkers.com, or you can go to ustream.tv, I think it is. Search for Everyday Drinkers, subscribe to our channel, or follow, or whatever you have to do. And then on Friday nights when we record live, you will see the message go out eventually that says, "Hey, Everyday Drinkers just went live. Click here to watch it." And you can watch us live, comment with everybody else. That's 7:30 that was the old time when Doug was here. It's 6:30 Eastern Time. GMT -5 is a normal time for that. We also have the mics, the LED lights, and then you'll also notice you can't see them anymore, but they're very washed out. Some of the old LED lights, they just kind of wash out the camera. If you go look at some of the original downstairs film when we first moved down into the basement, you'll see it's very white. And if you go to look at some of the old stuff when we were in the attic, you'll see it's kind of also washed out when we started using LEDs. Now I use a filter on our software Final Cut Pro X, which is on this Mac here, for handling all that type of bringing the color back into the video, in case people have noticed that in the past. Let's see. Lastly, this is just something I was thinking about. I'm going to throw it out there. I figure if you guys are still watching at the 14-minute mark, you're dedicated fans enough to even care about this. So what I was thinking, and I've seen other people do this, is they have tried to crowdsource money to be able to do specific projects. Music artists do it to create, their own not record label, but be able to produce their own records without needing record labels and all that stuff. My ultimate goal, obviously, is to be able to be full-time into AwesomeDrinks.com and the show, which would mean bringing in all this great stuff together, allowing me to do a lot more work producing content, a lot more work getting awesome stuff into the store that can meld with that content and give everybody just more of everything to be able to work through. And it is very tasking. I spend all night working on stuff because I have a real job. That I have to work 40 hours. I get calls. I'm in sales, and I do a lot of traveling around New England. So I'm usually on the road. And when I'm not and I come home, boom, now I'm in mode number 2. I'm either at karate, German class, I'm on the board of directors for the NHGA, German Association. I've always got something going on, so I don't have 100% time to dedicate for the show. So I was thinking, and I don't know if it would work, but I don't know if there's anything in risk in failing, but if I did like a Kickstarter program where I wanted to raise money to say, get me through a full year of at least, raise, let's say $150,000 to be able to just do this full time and be able to produce content, build new recipes, put out a book, creating the YouTube channel book, which I'm working on now as on the side. I also want to create a tiki glass, a custom tiki mug that's specific to my style, which would be a cobalt. I've already got the design for a tiki mug, very similar to the Cthulhu tiki mug design, meaning it's my own, I produce it, I sell it, it's unique to me. I have all these ideas of things I'd love to be able to do, but I can't, I only have so much time, and I do have to sleep at least 3 hours a night. So I would love to be able to go full-time into this, but I would totally need the backing of people. And so I would love to know just what your feedback would be. As rewards for the Kickstarter program, to keep it cheap, I would probably do, shout-outs for people who donate a little bit of money, custom recipes for people who donate, larger numbers of money or whatever. Just kind of thinking out loud. I was thinking about it today, and I don't know if it would really work, but it would really help us to be able to get the tires going, kick them, and be able to hopefully launch the store 2, 3, 4 times the amount of sales we do today, so that I could then never have to ask again for money. But I don't know. I'm just kind of hesitant on asking people for money. It's just kind of weird, and I thought hard work was all it would take, but at the end of the day, it's 5 times harder when you have to juggle a real job, a family, and everything together. So there you go. That's just something I was thinking of. Leave any comments you want. It doesn't really matter. So the question of the day is that. What would you guys think if I was to try and raise money and crowdsource? I would totally need more than just the hardcore fans to be able to invest in that, because, you just would. You just need a lot of people. At least that's how I feel it. If anybody's done any research on Kickstarter or how some of the success stories out there, you can always let me know. You can email me to dschomer@everydaydrinkers.com. And that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed the question and answers and you got some questions done. I'll link the other questions and answers video below, so that if you want to continue the series where you ask me questions, you can also write those below. Just please make sure that I haven't already answered them. That would be super awesome. Alright, we're done. We're teaching you how to drink.